Washington Wizards are my team to read off. They hired Wes Unseld Jr., which means that they got rid of Scott Brooks. They drafted Corey Kispert at number 15. So I'm trying to distill the 5-team trade down to this. Washington acquired Spencer Dinwiddie, Aaron Holiday, Isaiah Todd, the number 31 pick, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Montrezl Harrell, Kyle Kuzma, and a 2022 second-round swap with San Antonio for Chandler Hutcherson, Russell Westbrook, and 5 second-round commitments. That's how I tried to shorten it up there. They signed Harrell Neto to a 1-year deal at the minimum, signed Jay Huff to a non-guaranteed 1-year deal at the minimum, signed Jordan Goodwin to a non-guaranteed 1-year deal at the minimum, and signed Cassius Winston to a 2-way contract. Notable subtractions include Scott Brooks, Russell Westbrook, Robin Lopez, Ish Smith, Garrison Matthews, who remains unsigned, Isak Bonga, Chandler Hutchinson, and Caleb Holmesley. What grade did you give the Wizards, Grant?
I was surprised when I scrolled down to see this, but I've talked myself back into it. I gave them an A. And I'm prepared to be made fun of for that, although your grade's not that much worse. Basics. Got off the Westbrook contract, added talent on reasonable deals. They got Dinwiddie on another fair deal. I think a little bit of risk there maybe. And they didn't piss off or lose Bradley Beal. And so now the state of the Washington Wizards is they have no bad contracts on the books, really. Beal's the only guy next year that's going to make more than $18 million. Davis Bertans, fringy bad contract, but maybe not. Shooting still plays. Which, if you rewound a year, man, that's a better position. Like they're flexible. They have like several like at least good to very good, useful NBA players on the roster, and almost none of them are grossly overpaid. So, and they made a coaching upgrade, I think almost by default, a lot of people would say. Yeah, I mean, it's just really hard for me to give a team anything but a very high grade when you move Russell Westbrook and that contract. So, and for not a crippling asset in return. So great opportunism by them. And I think they're just in a much better position overall, and surprisingly so, based on kind of what they had to work with going in.
I'd mostly agree with you. I thought based off what the net price was for them, I don't understand why they're so in love with Aaron Holiday. That was questionable to me. I would have liked to have seen them gone the Trey Murphy or Usman Garuba route in the draft over Corey Kispert, just looking at what their team really needs. I echo everything else that you just said, though. And so it's really tough to hate this offseason. I gave them a B+. I just think it could have been better based off what they're doing. And I don't have a problem. Look, if they end up trading Bradley Beal, my stance is that they already should have moved him. I'm not harshing their grade for that because they've given themselves an outlook to where they can do whatever, and they're just not bogged down by anything. And that includes if Bradley Beal signs an extension or stays there long term. Like they have a bunch of different paths they could travel to where they at least seem like they're not going to accept total mediocrity anymore. Maybe the Spencer Dinwiddie deal goes against that. But as you said, I think the biggest thing here is they have no bad deals on the books anymore. Davis Bertans is probably the closest they get to at that point, but shooting is always going to be able to be moved. So it was just a matter of, maybe Aaron Holiday ends up being really good for them, but they gave up the number 22 pick as part of getting him. I'm not sure how much I love that. And then I would have liked to have seen them mostly have gone with Trey Murphy over Kispert at that spot in the draft, but that's just not, that's not a huge deal to me. They had a very good offseason. And it seems wild to say that because Russell Westbrook did play very well for them, basically over their second half of last season. But when you look at the complexion of that contract, how hard you knew it was going to be to move, and just look at where they were with John Wall. They ended up basically net neutral in picks while still getting rid of John Wall and have all these other guys on digestible salaries, but who could also maybe help them if they keep Bradley Beal and want to make some immediate ruckus in the Eastern Conference. Just an overall, I would say, shrewd offseason for them. I will say, I don't know that anything they did necessarily instructs where I think they're going to go. I know a lot of people believe that because they still have Beal and because of what has come out of the organization, what he said, that he's going to remain there long term. I just don't remain entirely convinced because they haven't exactly, they've mapped out a path to a bunch of different paths. And now they have to narrow that down.
Yeah, just having the options though was like inconceivable a year ago.
Right.
I think that's just it. They don't have what appear to be fantastic options other than like, I don't know, Beal re-ups, and then you can package KCP and Kuzma and whatever Kispert and whatever else for like a second star with picks attached, whatever. But that's like that they could do that now, and you're not just looking at it like there was a very real scenario where they would have traded Beal, gotten a bunch of picks back, I guess, but then you got Russell Westbrook on a terrible contract and like not a lot of actual NBA players and some picks. Like that's not a great outcome. So now, if you do trade Beal, at least what you're getting back is going to get integrated into a team that like has some like look just between Kyle Kuzma and KCP and Denny Avdija and who am I forgetting? Rui Hachimura. There's some wings and forwards. Like you can do some stuff with this roster. And I think this is a team that probably isn't like top 6 or 7 in the East, but they're in the playoff and play-in mix, maybe more if some of the young guys pop. And again, just bottom line, the flexibility is there, and that's like a monumental achievement based on what they had going in.
I will say I'm still a big fan of Denny Avdija. That did not factor into their grade, obviously, but he looked really good before he got injured. This was fantastic. This was long. Grant, thank you for undertaking the Eastern Conference grades with me. We hope that everyone agrees 100% with what we said because we believe it is gospel and there's no room for anyone else to think otherwise. I'm just kidding there. Follow Grant on Twitter at GT_Hughes. Please remember to rate, review, and subscribe to Hardwood Knocks wherever you get your podcasts. Download every episode. We are on YouTube. Go to youtube.com, search Hardwood Knocks, subscribe to our channel. Until next time, I leave you all with a shout out to the one, the only, the guy who could have given every single NBA team an A+ offseason grade had they simply signed him, James Ennis, but also Frank Ntilikina.